Hi everyone! In the last video I showed you what cascading style sheets can do for you, and in this video we're actually going to start styling our HTML. So just a quick recap. The way cascading style sheets work on HTML is you select part of your HTML document with various selectors, and then inside your brace bracket you can change properties to give various values. And usually you want this in a separate style sheet, like a separate document file where you do all your styling. But for debugging purposes, you often want to have your styling actually right in your HTML. And now, it's sort of bad in general to do it this way. But if you're doing, quick tests or debugging or just learning, it's a great way to jump right into styling things and just see what it does. So I've made this HTML document. It looks like this. It's got an H1, it's got some paragraphs, it's got some unordered list items, and I found this cool picture of Batman, Lego Batman, of course, so we can try styling various things. So one thing you can do is you can actually just go right in and add a style attribute. So the way you do attributes in HTML is, attribute equals quotes. And then inside that attribute, you can write any sort of CSS code. So we could change the background of this to, let's make it cornflower blue, because why not? So hit save on that, and when I refresh, my H1 tag all of a sudden is cornflower blue. And one thing I'd like you to notice is that the H1 tag doesn't end here at the E. H1 actually goes all the way across the full width of the page. If I make the page narrower, of course, it gets drawn in. And there's actually a slight border inside here. That's actually the padding of the body element. So around the outside of the body, there's a little bit of a gap. And so this blue section here gets changed to a background of cornflower blue with this style here. And if I wanted, I can add a semicolon and a second attribute. So let's do color. Let's make it purple, because that will look great. Purple. Fabulous. And I guess technically we should have a semicolon every time. As you saw, though, when I only had one attribute, the semicolon isn't necessarily needed. But anyway, good habit to get into with the semicolon every time. And then when I refresh this page, boom, now my title is purple. So that's one place you can do. Let's say I want to change my paragraph text. Let's say I want my paragraphs to be, pink, I guess. So let's add a style equals quotes, color. Of course, it's American spelling, pink. Let's do semicolon, save, and refresh. Now, that only changed the first paragraph here to be pink. But I want all my paragraphs to be pink. So it turns out that there's a nice way you can actually do that inside your HTML document, inside the head. So if you recall, the head tag is information about the document. And one thing you can put in into the head is a style tag. So style type is text/CSS. And then in here, we can make our paragraphs, open brace, have the style of, what did I want? I want color, let's make it red. Okay, hit save on this, and then refresh my page. All right, now, you'll notice that this text is still pink, whereas these paragraphs have changed to red. And that's because this pink here on the actual element right in the HTML document has overridden this color here. But let's say that I didn't understand that and I was confused by this. I'm like, okay, why is this pink? Why is this red? One thing you can do in Chrome, which is really powerful, which you're going to find yourself doing a lot with cascading style sheets, is right-click and inspect. And inspect shows you all of the styles and properties that are affecting every single thing in your website. Like, for instance, if I select the head or right-click inspect the head, you can see that we have H1 blah, blah, blah. So this is all the basic default stuff. User agent style sheet. User agent just means your web browser. So this is the styles applied to this by Chrome. And then our element style, which came from, it actually tells us right here. So our background's cornflower blue and our color is purple. Okay. Now if we select this paragraph here and inspect, this paragraph got the color red from first css.html. That's our file name. :6. That :6 means that it's actually from line 6 of our HTML file. So this line 6 is where we selected the P, and we selected the P element and changed it to red. And sure enough, it changed it to red. But then you'll notice it's crossed off. And it's crossed off because the element style of pink overrode this red style here. And so this is how you can actually drill down further and further into your CSS and change things in more And change specific things if you don't want this paragraph to match the rest. If I do want that paragraph to match the rest, then I'm going to have to get rid of that style right there, save and refresh, and now all of my paragraphs match and they're red. One other thing I'd like to do, I'd like to put a border around this image of Batman. So I'm going to go into my style sheet again, or my document, and I'm going to select images, and I want my images to have a border. Now, if you recall from last time, I said that borders need to have three different things. They need a width, they need a style, and they need a color. And I'll show you what happens if we don't give all three. So let's say I just say I want border, color to be, let's do slate gray. Hit save on that and refresh, and nothing happens. If I right click inspect, let's see. The border color is slate gray, but it's not showing up because you need more than just a border color. You also need a border width, and let's make it 2 pixels is nice. And then let's make even that's not enough. So if we hit save and refresh, still don't see anything. We need to add a border style of solid. And now we should get a 2 pixel slate gray border. And that's a little bit small to see, so let's maybe just make it really ugly for a sec. You wouldn't normally do a 10 pixel border, that's quite extreme, but there you go, there's your 10 pixel slate gray border. One other thing, I'm noticing this is really huge, so I'm going to add a width attribute. So my image, I'm going to give a width, and widths you can do in terms of pixels, so I can make this 300 px, and refresh, and there we go. My image is 300 pixels wide, and it automatically scaled the height. How cool is that? So that's one way to do it. But if 300 pixels could be a lot on a tiny little phone screen, or it could be like not that much. Like if I close this, that's kind of small for this massive screen I've got here. So another thing you could do instead of pixels is you could make your width as a percentage. So if I say this is 50%, then what it's going to do is it's going to make it half the width of the page. And there you go. So now my Batman is half the width. Or I could make it, I don't know, maybe that's a bit big. 25% maybe. And there we go. Now our Batman is 25% the width. And then if I shrink the page, notice how the image dynamically resizes. Oh, that's so slick. I love cascading style sheets. Okay, so when you're just doing quick debugging, those are two places you can put the style. You can put it in here or in the top. One other thing I wanted to show you guys is the idea of inheritance. So if I change this UL style, so let's give it a style in here. Style equals, let's just do color again. Let's do color yellow. Why not? Because that's really hard to see. Okay, so that's just made all of my ULs yellow. And so you'll notice that like the ULs don't actually have anything in them. The ULs actually contain LIs. And so another way I could have done this is I could have gone up here and made my LIs have a property. Let's do color. Let's do, I can't think of colors right now. That's where my head's at. Let's do orange. Okay, so we've got orange up here, and I've got yellow down here. When I refresh this website, do you think that these ULs are going to stay yellow from this element style, or are they going to become orange from this LI style? Well, let's refresh and see what happens. They changed to orange. So let's right click and inspect and find why. So it got the yellow attribute from UL, inherited from UL. So inherited means that the LIs are inside of the UL. So LIs are inside of UL, so they inherited the color yellow from this UL style. But then the LI gets changed to orange in line 18. So often you want to style elements on your page separately or together based on the parent element. Well, the parent element of this whole page is the body. And in fact, there's actually a special selector called star which selects everything on the page. So if I change the background to, let's do black. Let's say I want to make a black style web page, and I refresh. You'll notice everything changed to black except for this header. And sure enough, if I inspect the header, we will see that from star, it got black, and then the element style changed the background to cornflower blue. Okay, so that's your quick introduction to CSS, and in the next video we're going to actually make a separate CSS file, a style sheet.